Babe Ruth is arguably baseball's most enduring legend. Anyone considered among the greatest ever will inevitably be compared with him. Lately, there has been a lot more attention to Ruth's legacy as a two-way player. People compare him to Japanese superstar Shohei Ohtani. While Ruth is a much more accomplished hitter, their pitching records are probably comparable. There is no doubt about Ruth as a hitter, but how good was Babe Ruth the pitcher? Let's find out. Babe Ruth's professional career began in 1914 when he signed with the Baltimore Orioles. During this time, he got his nickname Dunny's Babe, after Orioles owner Jack Dunn. Though the nickname Babe was common at that time, eventually it became almost solely identified with Ruth. In his minor league debut, he came up in relief in the last two innings. In his second at-bat, however, Ruth hit a prodigious home run, a sign of things to come. That season, the upstart Federal League was formed, and the city had a new major league team, the Baltimore Terrapins. As a result, the Baltimore Orioles, then a minor league team, suffered in the gates and began losing money. To recover, Dunn sold off the contracts of his players to the major league teams. The Cincinnati Reds and New York Giants were interested in Ruth, but Dunn eventually sold his contract to the Boston Red Sox. Two other Orioles joined him, Ernie Shore and Ben Egan. Babe Ruth debuted with the Boston Red Sox on July 11, 1914. He won his first game and lost the next one. However, he was soon sent back to the minors. Red Sox owner Joseph Lannon bought the minor league team Providence Grays from personalities associated with the Detroit Tigers. As part of the transaction, an incumbent Grays pitcher was sent to the Tigers. To appease Grays fans, the Red Sox sent Ruth to Providence. The Cincinnati Reds tried to claim Ruth on waivers, but Lannon explained he was demoted to help him improve as a player. At Providence, Ruth met manager Wild Bill Donovan, who was once a 25-game winner in the majors. Ruth later credited him with teaching him much about pitching. Ruth led Providence to first place and had a 23-8 combined record for the year in the International League. On October 2nd, Boston recalled Ruth, who had his first major league hit, a double against the New York Yankees. Ruth's debut season was underwhelming. He had a negative 0.3 WAR, a 2-1 win-loss record, 3.91 ERA, with 3 strikeouts against 7 walks in 23 innings. In 1915, he reported for spring training with the Red Sox, but was not expected to be a regular part of the rotation. The team had lefty Dutch Leonard, who holds the modern record for the lowest ERA in a season. The Red Sox also had another lefty, Ray Collins, who was a 20-game winner in each of the past 2 seasons. Ruth still got his chance. He pitched the 3rd game of the season, but unfortunately was ineffective and lost. After this, he was used mainly as a reliever. Eventually, Ruth took over the struggling Collins slot in the starting rotation. The Red Sox won the pennant and battled the Philadelphia Phillies in the 1915 World Series. The Red Sox won 4-1. Unfortunately for Ruth, Boston's pitching was so strong that he didn't pitch a single game. Ernie Shore started games 1 and 4, Rube Foster for games 2 and 5, while Dutch Leonard pitched game 3. The team used Ruth as a pinch hitter in the series-clinching game 5, but he grounded out. It was his only appearance in the series. In 1916, Ruth had the best season in his career as a pitcher. He also began attracting attention with his pitching duels with the legendary Walter Johnson. They met 5 times with Ruth winning 4. 2 of his victories were 1-0 shutouts. For the season, Ruth had an 8.8 WAR, a 23-12 record, and a league-leading ERA of 1.75. He also led the league with 40 games started, 9 shutouts, and an ERA plus of 158. He also did not give up a single home run while hitting 3 of his own. The Red Sox won the pennant and met the Brooklyn Robins in the World Series. Ruth pitched Game 2 and began a record of 29 2/3 consecutive scoreless World Series innings. He had a 1-0 record as Boston won the series 4-1. At the end of the 1916 season, Wild Bill Kerrigan retired as player manager. Jack Barry from the legendary Philadelphia 100,000 infield took over. More significantly, the Red Sox had a new owner. Ruth continued to pitch well in 1917, finishing with a 6.6 WAR, a 24-13 record, a 2.01 ERA, and a league-leading 35 complete games. But the season is best known for a game Ruth did not finish. He issued a walk before being ejected for arguing with the umpire. The runner was later caught stealing second. Ernie Shore came in relief and retired the next 27 batters. This was initially listed as a perfect game, but was later reduced to a combined no-hitter. The 1918 season changed Ruth's career trajectory. Up to this point, Ruth only hit in games where he was pitching. The team noticed the audience was bigger whenever Ruth was pitching. To take advantage, the new manager Ed Barrow placed Ruth sometimes in the outfield. The 1918 season was only 123 games long because of World War I. Thus, Ruth pitched in only 20 games. He started 19 and completed 18 of them. He also had a 2.22 ERA. During this season, however, Ruth led the league in home runs for the first time with 11. The Red Sox won the pennant that year and were up against the Chicago Cubs. Ruth was Boston's ace and started Game 1. He won Game 1 and did the same with Game 4. Boston ended up winning the series 4-2. That was the last World Series where Ruth pitched. In his World Series career, he had a 3-0 record and an ERA of 0.87. He pitched 31 innings, had 8 strikeouts, and 10 walks. In 1919, Ruth appeared in only 17 games as a pitcher. He had a 9.5 record and a 2.97 ERA. It was, however, his first great season as a hitter. He had league-leading totals of 9.1 WAR, 103 runs, 113 RBIs, a 456 on-base percentage, a 657 slugging average, and an OPS plus of 217. He also set the new major league record for home runs with 29. The following year, things changed for Ruth in Boston. The Red Sox sold Ruth's contract to the Yankees for $100,000 and a $350,000 loan secured by a mortgage on Fenway Park. Despite its notoriety, the trade wasn't the most infamous in Boston at the time. That title belonged to when legend Tris Speaker's contract was sold to the Cleveland Indians. Eventually, however, as Ruth's popularity exploded, the Speaker trade was soon mostly forgotten. When Ruth moved to New York, he mostly abandoned pitching and focused on hitting. In the next 14 years with the Yankees, he would only pitch in 5 games, the last in 1933. As a Yankee pitcher, Ruth was undefeated with a 5-0 record. He had an even 0.00 WAR, a 5.52 ERA, and 31 innings pitched. Ruth finished his career as a pitcher with 20.4 WAR, a 94.46 record, 2.28 ERA, 107 complete games, 1,221.1 innings pitched, 17 shutouts, 4 saves, 488 strikeouts, and 441 walks. He also has an ERA plus of 122. He was an ace on his way to a Hall of Fame career, but fate had other plans, and he became probably the greatest player in the history of baseball. Thank you for watching. Do you think Babe Ruth could have reached the same success as a hitter if he continued full-time pitching and hitting? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. It helps immensely.